Good afternoon, everybody. It's Connie Miller here, my husband Willie,
Hey, how you doing?
and we wanted to make another video today for you to give you some encouragement. We were encouraged as we were having conversation earlier. We're going to be in the book of Colossians, but you know, I've been thinking a lot about, I wonder how many people are living with a slave mentality rather than a son or daughter mentality.
Yeah. And Connie, you know, I hear that a lot at work and in the area, and even whenever I'm talking to Christians and all that, you hear the verbiage and it almost sounds like they're under this heavy burden to be a Christian.
Well, and I don't think people even realize that, because you and I were there too. It's the language you use. You hear it from everybody in the Christian circles, and it's just what you were accustomed to.
Right.
And that's what you say.
Right.
But what we don't realize is there really is something deeper that we're living by. You know, then language is everything. I'm really big. I drive my husband crazy. Words, I love words, and it's like, say what you mean what you say. We use words that really don't mean in the proper context with what we're really talking about. So, you know, when I say slave mentality, because see, I used to be bound up in religion, and when I'm saying religion, I'm meaning performance, duty. Okay, yes, we serve God, the serve God thing, okay? Now, I used to say that all the time, I just want to serve God.
Right.
That is not even in my language anymore. Because now I have my whole mindset has changed, and my mentality that I'm a daughter. He didn't make me so he could have a servant. Now, does his life serve others through me? Absolutely.
Right.
But first and foremost, he wants me to have a daughter mentality. Right?
Yes, and one of the things I was thinking about as you were saying that, we spend a lot of time in our prayers, in our songs, in our doing to get God to do something. And that's a terrible way to live in a relationship, that if I don't do A, B, C, or if I'm not good enough with A, B, and C, then God's not going to do what we're needing him to do for us. And that's terrible.
We've lived that way in our relationships.
Yeah.
When I was steep in religion, when it was about duty and obligation, and basically it's fear-driven is what it is. When I was fear-driven, I put that on all my relationships.
Yeah. And the more
I wasn't easy to live with. I mean, was I? You got the brunt of that at first when we first got together. And I've seen even with you, as much as you understood grace when we first got together, you still had that. And I think especially with our children, So, go ahead.
And, I've seen that in our own relationship, like you were saying, but learning to just be able to just come to him as a father and know that he's not going to drop the ball with us. He's consistent, he's steady, and he doesn't look at us in this judgmental way. It's just so freeing once we get to this point.
So you were kind of stirred by Colossians, and then we just started talking about it. And then I have the Message Bible, which I just love the Message Bible, because I love new language, like putting new words to things.
Right.
And so we were just reading. Do you want me to just go ahead? Or?
Yeah, go ahead, and maybe if you don't care.
This will stir conversation because I've got everything underlined. We're in chapter 1, starting at 15. It says, "We look at this sun and see the God who cannot be seen. We look at this sun and see God's original purpose in everything created. For everything, absolutely everything above and below, visible and invisible, rank after rank after rank of angels, everything got started in him and finds its purpose in him. He was there before any of it came into existence and holds it all together right up to this moment. And when it comes to the church, he organizes and holds it together like a head does a body." Let me go on, or you just...
Well, no, I was just thinking about that. Everything was focused on the church, right? No. It wasn't focused on the church at all. It wasn't focused on the doing. It wasn't focused on anything except for what he has done. And that's what's really exciting. And then if you go back,
He's the originator.
He's the originator, so it's always has been. It always has been.
My cat's probably gonna jump up here, so
we're probably going to have a visit, but we're going to keep going, okay?
He's obsessive with attention.
So,
all right.
So everything always has and always will be and is. And so that's really exciting.
And it says, he was the supreme in the beginning and leading the resurrection parade. I like that. Mm-hmm. He is supreme in the end. From beginning to end, he's there, towering far above everything and everyone. So spacious is he, so expansive that everything of God finds its proper place in him without crowding.
I like that word because when you said that, when you read that a while ago in the message the first time, without crowding, it just almost made me explode because there's he's not pushing us, he's not like smashing us into this one little box. It's just like he's giving us room to do what?
Just to be us.
Yeah.
Our cat's being very vocal right now, so he wants to get in on this. So, but I see it like crowding. Like we don't got to be in competition either.
Right.
We don't have to be in competition. He's distracting. Yeah, I love that word. So that's a new word. Okay. Not only that, but all the broken and dislocated pieces of the universe, people and things, animals and atoms, get properly fixed and fit together in vibrant harmonies, all because of his death, his blood that poured down from the cross.
Can I just, as whenever it says, put back together. He did everything. He put us all back together. And so many times in our lives, I was thinking, how many of us walk around as Christian thinking we're still broken? And
we may feel it in our emotions, but it's like God told me a long time, he says, I'm not breaking you. I'm trying to get you to see, I put you back together.
Right.
You're not a broken person. You've been made whole.
You read this writing here a while back, and you said something about the pieces that fall on the floor is the pieces that I wanted you to get rid of.
Just let them fall.
Yeah.
The things that you adorn yourself with.
Yes.
You don't need them.
And then
right?
Yes. And then I was thinking about that. He's got the perfect pieces. He's already put them back together in you. And wow, that's so freeing to see that. And then you can go after this. But I was just thinking, when we were counseling, that was the biggest thing for us to help people to see that we're not weird, we're not messed up. God designed us in a perfect way. We see ourselves as a weirdo, but God designed us for a specific reason in a perfect way, and He put us in this together like that. And that just, to me, that gets me excited. It gets me goosebumps.
Mm-hmm. All right, then we're going to go a little farther down. Let's see, verse 26. It says, this mystery has been kept in the dark for a long time, but now it's time. Now it's out in the open. God wanted everyone, not just Jews, to know this rich and glorious secret out inside and out, regardless of their background, regardless of their religious standing. The mystery, in a nutshell, is just this: Christ is in you. So therefore, you can look forward to sharing in God's glory. It's that simple. This is the substance of our message. We preach Christ, warning people to not add to the message. What's adding to the message? It says, we teach in a spirit of profound common sense so that we can bring each person to maturity. Now, this whole maturity word, I just got to grow, mature. Maturity is just coming into the knowledge of what's already happened. Mm-hmm. It says, to be mature is to be basic.
Right.
Basic. Christ. No more, no less. That's what I'm working so hard, day after day, year after year, doing my best with the energy God so generously gives me. Christ. Christ in you. Everything He is, you are. You share in His life. Christ.
Yeah, and
not adding all this performance.
And it gets me kind of excited because it says He withheld it from no one. And I was thinking about that for just a second. We have this major competition, it seems like, between, especially in the body of Christ, that we're better, they're better, and everything.
We got it all on the truth side. Like, we know the truth. they're kind of off.
And we have this. I told Connie one time we have a religious bias, and anyway, God's letting us all kind of grow in our own pace and everything, and where each one of us are at is okay, and I could
like I can follow people on Facebook and like, guess what? I don't have to sit and correct everybody. I used to be like that though, because I see people discovering things or going through studying an area that I used to be obsessed with years ago, learning about certain things, and now I don't even think about it anymore. Now I know that is not what I was so obsessed with. Was not even. I'm thinking some things were not even true, and they weren't. It's just changed. But do I have to go back and correct that person every little thing? No, because God's walking with that person. That's where they're at. God walked me through stuff. I can trust God that He's going to reveal to them the truth of what they can see and what they have the capability to know at that time. That makes sense.
And I think that just knowing in our relationship personally, we can just rest in where we're at. And that is the best place we've ever been, is just with our relationship with Christ. It's just being able to just rest in that relationship. And know, we was laughing about it. Can I just say this? We was laughing about this here the other day about some of the stuff we used to teach. And we're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that we taught this or we taught this. And then it was like, God's like saying it's okay. Because it's a journey. We're going through it. I don't have to feel bad about teaching that. I know I won't teach it anymore, but I don't have to feel bad.
We had truth in that stuff, but and God used all that.
Yes.
And there's people that were helped in that, even where we were at, but yeah, gosh, it's changed dramatically, hasn't it?
And I don't have to feel bad about that, because God has taken us on a journey of learning, and that's what He's doing to everyone. So allow people to go through their journey, if you will.
Yes. All right, moving on. From shadow to the substance. This is chapter 2, verse 6. My counsel for you is simple and straightforward. Just go ahead with what you've been given. You received Jesus Christ, the Master. Now live Him. Live Him. You're deeply rooted in Him. You're well constructed upon Him. You know your way around the faith. Now do what you've been taught. School's out. I love this.
That.
Quit studying the subject and start living it. And let your living spill over into thanksgiving. Man, there's a lot I could say in that.
Right. Go ahead.
Well, school's out. We're sitting here studying this and that and the other. I get it, because my brain, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with learning, but like when it comes to Christ, you got it all. I mean, quit seeing what more you can get and learn what you already got.
Right.
He's given it all. He's not waiting for a someday. You have all of the Holy Spirit right now.
Right. And
you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's really cool, because in the first chapter, verse 1 or 2, it talks about them being taught by Epaphras or whatever his name is, and Paul says, sorry if you scholars out there that said, man, he screwed that name up, say it's okay, but anyway, Paul said, and this is why I don't quit praying for you, because he wants you to get this in you, what you're learning, so deep that anytime you come up against a hard time, you're not doubting your relationship with the Father. And I think that's a key thing. It's coming so solid. Man, I'm going to use a light thing. You can smash your finger and cuss for 30 minutes and it hasn't changed your relationship. And you don't feel condemned because you're like, oh man, I got to get back on the altar and pray for an hour and a half and snot and cry and beg God to forgive me once again. You can rest in that relationship.
I said, it's hard for people to believe that we were talking about this even with the guys in the prison. I'm not sin conscious anymore.
Right.
We don't even think that way anymore.
Right.
No, it's not. that we're oblivious that we still mess up.
Right.
But sin conscious meaning like I lived that way all my life. Worrying about every little thing I did, and God saying, you know what, quit it. It's as if you never even sinned to me. Right. He's not sin conscious toward us. Why are we sin conscious toward ourselves?
Right. And you don't have to stay so focused on not doing these things because Father's already putting that in you. He's already completed that work, and he's literally...
No, we're just walking it out.
Yeah.
Walking what he's already put in.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go back to that school's out thing. We have a lot to learn, but if we learn this key thing, that the work is complete, then the school's out. You can say, that settles. He said it, that settles it. There's a scripture that says that. And when we learn that key thing, then all the other stuff, as we learn and we grow in knowledge, they'll come. But all
the things I tried to quit by my willpower and determining I wasn't going to do it anymore never worked. Ever. But when I stopped thinking about it and just started relaxing, I'm not saying I still don't have days where you just, that's the carnal mind, but a lot of that stuff I don't even think about anymore or worry about. It doesn't consume me.
Yeah, that verse 1, that was
because I'm not sin conscious anymore.
Right. That's one thing that verse 1 had talked about, that we get so bound up in our thinking, and that's what holds us from having that intimate, restful relationship with him is our thinking.
It's not coming from God's side, it's us.
Yes.
All right. So everything of God gets expressed in him, so you can see and hear him clearly. You don't need a telescope, a microscope, or a horoscope to realize the fullness of Christ and the emptiness of the universe without him. When you come to him, that fullness comes together for you too. His power extends over everything. Now the next part, it says, entering into this fullness is not something you figure out or achieve. This is big, guys. Mm-hmm. You're not sitting here trying to achieve fullness or trying to figure it out, okay? It's not a matter of, of course, back then it was about being circumcised or not, right? Or a matter of law keeping, a list of laws. No, you're already in. We're insiders, not through some secret initiation, right? But rather through what Christ has already gone through for you, destroying the power of sin. It's an initiation ritual you're after. If it's an initiation ritual you're after, you've already been through it by submitting to baptism, by meaning we've been immersed into Christ.
Can I just say something here?
Man, we're all trying to get that fullness, aren't we? We got to achieve it.
It just thought of me something. One of my coworkers is a Jewish rabbi, and he did a little speech here a while back, and he said, Jews are Jews, period. And he said, some people want to be Jews and they become Jewish. You get that in a minute. Yeah. You know.
I get it.
but once we understand that we're God's children, or we're Christians, that's it. It's settled. We don't become Christianish. And
I don't even like the word Christian so much anymore because just a child of God. I mean, I'm a daughter.
You're his child, period.
Because there's religious notions with being a Christian, or doing Christianity,
Right.
And no, I just be. This is who I am.
Right.
A child of God. I'm an heir, not a slave.
So you don't have to be a child of God-ish. You solidly are a child of God. And that's the point I want to get at. It's a done deal. And once we get that in our head, we can just start relaxing and growing.
But I tell you, being in an organized religion, fundamentalism, it was always the next level to get something more.
Yes. Oh,
do this and this will happen. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying behavior is not important. We're not saying, but as far as when it comes to God and earning things and getting things and making him more pleased, throw it all out the door. Yeah. Because there's nothing more, there's nothing we can do. Right. He just wants us to believe it. Live me. Mm-hmm. Live me.
Yeah. There's not a 32nd degree in Christianity.
And, you know, the church is so sin-focused, we can't get to the business of even realizing we already have fullness right now.
That's it. That's it. And that's what I think we have to understand. That,
And then you go get focused on all these demons and everything, too. Don't even get me going on that. Because believe me, I was there once.
mm-hmm.
Everything was a demon, and I had to figure it out, and I had to call them out by name. And, you know, and I don't know how many times I cast this and that off of me. I'm not even going to go there with this. But it's like, I don't even think about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't demons that was my problem.
Right. It was my little thinker.
It was me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was me.
Yeah.
And things that were ingrained into me, things I learned.
I think that's a key thing that we need to put in is, you know, if we're going through a hard time or there's something going on and there's a struggle, quit blaming it on the devil. See what's going on that you can change, you know, and
yeah. There's a lot we could go on for that.
Yeah,
Maybe one day we will, because we've been down that road. Man, we've been through it all with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because we're oblivious to things, but man, the freedom comes just knowing who you are, walking it out day after day, with walking his life out, letting him live his life through you as you. It's him, but it looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
So the last one, it says in verse 16, don't put up with anyone pressuring you in details. Now this says of diet, worship services, or holy days. You want to say something about that?
Well, this goes back to this whole system. There's the word I want to use that we put in that has to do with our faith as a Christian. Is the system that we think is going to make us a better Christian if we pray more, if we sing more, if we give more tithes, and the list goes on and on and on. Fasting more, and if we do these things, it brings us to a new level with our relationship with God. And I think about
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, my kids. You know, yeah, I want them to call me and talk to me and spend time with me, but they're not going to grow to a new level or less a level because they're not doing anything. Now, as far as knowing about them, I'm not going to know about them because I don't speak to them very much. But for the most part, my level with them is solid. I love them, and that settles it. And it's even more so with God, because He knows us completely. Right.
We don't have to worry, even if we're not talking to Him on any given day. We can't. Only way we turn is right here, because He's with us everywhere. You know, He still knows it all.
Right.
He's not like knows us less because we're not talking to Him. You know. And
to think that we have to do more, pay more, whatever it is, to come into a higher level with Him is some sad, sorry thinking. And so.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
It's slave mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not slaves. We're heirs.
That's it.
We're children.
Mm-hmm.
We have freedom.
That's it.
Man, we need to get to that childlike freedom.
And I think that'll...
What Daddy's just smiling and watching us run and do things in life and enjoying things. And He's just like, this is what I created you for.
Mm-hmm.
Just a love relationship, no pressures. You know, I accept you. What you think are warts, you know.
Yeah.
All your idiosyncrasies, everything. You know, what we think He's focusing on is not what He's focusing on.
And your weaknesses is no surprise to Him. You know how I know that? He designed you. So,
yeah.
You was going to show something in chapter 4 before you close that.
It was?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Oh, well, one last thing is I just underlined it. Verse 6, I believe it is. I'm talking about being gracious in your speech. The goal is to bring out the best in others in conversation.
Yes.
Not put them down, not cut them down. And I'm telling you what, we as believers can be the worst of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been guilty too. We'll see someone, I don't know, fall or get involved in something, and we're the first ones on social media outing them out, aren't we?
And I think that's
you know, we're not building anybody up.
In our relationships with other Christians and with
or period. It's not. I don't even. Yeah.
Yeah, we can even just, people. Period. What are we doing? If I bring on this condemnation talk where I'm telling, boy, you really screwed this up, or you're no good.
Well, we don't say that, but we imply it.
Right.
We're very indirect about it.
Yes.
I mean, because when I was bound up in legalism, everything, I was focused on everybody's behavior. Rather than just talking to them as a human being and they're struggling.
Right.
And, okay, so I don't care, believe it or not, there's good in everybody.
That's right.
We're all created in his image. Has that gotten thwarted and skewed? Absolutely. But there's good. Now, my job is to pull out the good.
And that's one of the amazing things to do, whether you're talking to your brother, sister, your homeless neighbor, believe it or not, we got homeless neighbors around. Whoever it is, a person in prison. Yes, this is what it looks like, but what does God see in you?
And there's so much deeper than what we just see.
Yeah.
See, we're so sin focused, sin conscious, so that is all we see.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying people do horrible things, and I'm not saying there's consequences to that. I'm not saying things don't need to be dealt with, but I mean, that's one thing about going into prison has helped me a lot. We call them men of God, whether they know it or not.
Right.
You're a mighty man of God. I don't need to know where that person's at. I just speak it.
Right.
They need to hear that to start changing their mind about things.
And it works too. You see that, and you just start speaking truth and love into them, and just see what happens. Our job is to just speak life into them and encourage them, no matter where they're at. If we could look and say, okay, this person here is on the street, he's a beggar, he's filthy, he stinks, all that thing. But what can we see that's good in him? Maybe it's something superficial, but just speak something positive into somebody and see what.
Or actually try to get to know what brought them to that point in their life.
Right.
Actually ask questions, assuming they're in some gross drug. I'm not saying probably addiction, but what got them in the addiction?
Right.
There's so much more to a person than what we do.
Right. And that's what we need to do is take time to step back, not preach condemnation, guilt, and shame, but teach the finished work that we just read. He doesn't hold back from anybody. How much is anybody? Nobody. Nobody is nobody.
Nobody is everybody.
That's right. Nobody is
right?
everybody.
Nobody's everybody.
Nobody is everybody. That's good. So he doesn't hold it back from anybody, so it's for everybody. And we can just be teaching that no matter what you see. Paul.
And I think we get mixed up too. Love and trust are two different things.
Yes.
We can love everybody. Now, do I want to invite everybody into my home that I might? No. But that doesn't mean that I'm condemning them.
No.
Trust is a completely different issue, but love, I can love everybody.
That's right.
Because why? Because love lives in me.
That's it.
Did God love me?
Absolutely.
God didn't go preach. When the church told me what his voice sounded like, and what I actually started hearing his voice and his promptings were actually like, was two different gods.
Mm-hmm.
God he always dealt with who he saw me as, not what I was dealing with at that time. He was always speaking to who I was, getting me to see and think differently.
Right.
That's the key.
Yeah.
So if God does that, we should be doing that, because his life is in us, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the things.
Get a little on fire about this.
Yeah. So number one, he hasn't held it from anybody. Number two, we're not having to worry about trying to achieve a better Christian because he's already
to get more, or to,
Yeah. And then number 3, that we're assigned to do one thing, and that's to build up those around us. That's pretty cool, huh?
And when we even get in our feelings and all our carnal thinking and we're not doing it perfectly, guess what? Nothing has changed.
Right.
We just need to have a better thought.
Yeah.
Go back. He'll bring us back to, wait a minute now. This doesn't affect how I feel about you,
Right.
or that I'm going to withhold something from you.
Not
Let's
at
get
all.
up and go again.
Go back to number 2 again, huh?
Yeah.
So that's funny. Yeah.
So we hope this encourages you today.
And
Pump me up just talking about it.
yeah, me too. I enjoyed it. And Connie's telling me, she says, you got to help me be consistent on getting these videos out. So, okay, we're going to work on each other to try to get that done more often for you, because we really love doing them. We love
And
you.
I need to do them just daily by myself, but you know.
It's a lot of fun doing them.
But I don't beat myself up if I don't either.
Right.
Not like I used to, that's for sure.
This is what I'll for sure tell you. We'll see you the next time we do one.
Yeah. So y'all have a good day. Hope
Bye-bye.
this encouraged you. Bye-bye.